Did any of you watch the World Cup draw and the FIFA award to Trump of the FIFA Peace Prize? What a farce. And the FIFA Charter says it should be apolitical. The FIFA president, Giani Infantino, should be sacked immediately.
I'm going berserk, yelling at Bob, get rid of the, give it the bank seat, get it out the stand, anywhere. They're already shouting from the box, time's up, it's over, finished. And not Bob. And all of a sudden, two German players opened out, and Bob ran between him in the middle of our half. And he ran on, stopped, checked, touched the ball with his foot, had a look up, saw Jeff first running away, dropped the ball over Jeff's right-hand shoulder, and Jeff just knocked it on, went and took it. And according to Jeff, he tried to kick it into the stand and went at the top corner for the goals.
I knew the game was finished, almost. I just meant to hit it as hard as I could, and if it went beyond the bar and the sand at Wembley into the crowd, it would take those few seconds for the game to be over, and that's all I meant to do. So, but fortunately it went in.
That's the way it should be, the beautiful game. Jeff Hurst completes his hat-trick for England to win the World Cup, and Gordon Banks making one of the best saves ever to prevent Pelé scoring. But what about the Soccer World Cup? So here are the questions. Will the US Soccer World Cup take place in 2026? Where will it be? Who will take part? How much of a fiasco will it be because of the interference of US politics? And will there be any genuine fans at the games? Well, let's start at the beginning. Did any of you watch the World Cup draw and the FIFA award to Trump of the FIFA Peace Prize?
Mr. President, this is your prize. This is your Peace Prize. There is also a beautiful medal for you that you can wear everywhere you want to go.
I'm going to wear it right now.
What a farce. And the FIFA Charter says it should be apolitical. The FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, should be sacked immediately. As for Trump, he campaigned before this current presidency on a platform of avoiding the US becoming involved in world conflicts.
We want to have things be good, safe. We want great education. We want a strong and powerful military, and ideally we don't have to use it. You know, we had no wars. 4 years we had no wars, except we defeated ISIS. We defeated ISIS in record time, but we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
So what has happened? Well, we all know in the first year of his second term, starting January of 2025, the administration of Donald Trump has engaged in several military actions. Whether these are defined as wars is subject to some political interpretation, and of course the White House claims to have ended 8 wars. The military actions include, the action in Venezuela, essentially the kidnapping of the Venezuelan president, and now full-scale war in Iran, which was invaded by both the US and Israel. And of course, the Russia-Ukraine conflict was going to be solved within a day and continues many, many days later. It's an absolute tragedy. So the political promise of not putting the US military lives at risk for foreign wars is dubious at best. So let's turn to the World Cup. So if it does take place, where will the stadiums be? It is going to take place, I guess. But with the political atmosphere in the US and world conflicts raging, can we be so sure? The tournament is supposed to start on June the 11th, 2026, at the famous Azteca Stadium in Mexico City, with a game between Mexico and South Africa. You know, the other host nations are the US and Canada. The current 16 designated stadiums are split between 3 countries: Canada, US, and Mexico, 2 being in Canada, 11 in the US, and 3 in Mexico. The first question is the safety of the Mexican stadiums. That's Monterrey, Guadalajara, and Mexico City. So why is there a problem in Mexico? Well, a joint effort between the Mexican government and the US led to the killing of the most wanted man in Mexico, El Mencho, the leader of the biggest drug cartel in the country, based in Jalisco. This has led to a large amount of cartel-fueled violence in various parts of the country, especially the Jalisco district. The United States played a crucial role in this February 2026 killing, but the operation was carried out by Mexican forces. Now there's widespread retaliation and big problems, especially in the Jalisco district. Guadalajara is in that district, and the Mexico City Stadium is not so far away. So it is not impossible that Monterrey will be the only safe stadium for the Mexican part of the World Cup. So who will play in the World Cup? Well, one obvious question is, will Iran play? They have qualified to go to the US and play in the US. Their current group is Group G, which is Belgium, Egypt, and New Zealand. But will Iran actually go? The Iranian Football Federation has said it will not boycott the World Cup, but it will boycott America. This implies they would play in Canada or Mexico, but this request has already been denied by FIFA. There is the frightening prospect that if both Iran and the US finish runner-up in their groups, they would play each other in the first playoff round in Dallas on July the 3rd. That would be a logistical and security nightmare. There are teams in the World Cup who have been attacked by Iran in response to the US and Israeli strike. These include Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. There are no obvious FIFA contingency plans in case Iran are not in the World Cup. It's at their discretion who would replace them, the most likely being Iraq or the United Arab Emirates, both of whom have been attacked by Iran. FIFA has 2 options if Iran do not or cannot play. One is to draft a replacement nation. The other is to just say, well, Group G will just be 3 teams. This situation has become even more complicated by the initial defection of 5 Iranian women from the Iranian women's national team in a tournament in Australia. This decision was subsequently reversed by the players. Who knows if that was because of threats to their families by the Iranian regime. But clearly, could this affect the desire of Iran to send players to the US, and indeed the enthusiasm of the Iranian players to actually go? So who could replace Iran? Iran qualified automatically for the World Cup, with the United Arab Emirates losing out on an automatic spot. In the event that Iran is not playing in the tournament, the UAE would be the closest replacement. Iraq play Bolivia tonight in Mexico in a winner-takes-all qualifying game, which will lead to World Cup qualification. Iraq initially asked FIFA to delay this tie as they thought they'd have trouble traveling outside Iraq because of the Middle East conflict, but this request was denied. If they win and achieve automatic qualification, then the 2 most likely teams FIFA could replace Iran with are the UAE, this is the most likely, or even Italy. If Italy don't beat Bosnia in their winner-take-all qualification game, then Italy would be the highest world seed who haven't qualified for the World Cup, and this could justify FIFA selecting them. Well, what about the US stadiums? Are they good to go? This is another disaster. The partial US government shutdown and the fact that the Department of Homeland Security funding is sort of frozen is causing a big problem for the World Cup host cities. And now politics has been dragged into the whole thing with a big battle between the Republicans and Democrats, which is essentially at an impasse. Democrats want changes to funding to try and limit the capability of ICE, who, of course, have killed 2 US nationals in recent months. So, why is all this relevant to the World Cup? Well, the agency responsible for administering what is $630 million is someone called FEMA. They were funded in Donald Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill. But that money is not being released at the moment. And this is leading to a great problem with security at the 11 US host cities. So Boston, which is holding World Cup games, very famous because of Foxborough, the home of the New England Patriots. They are missing nearly $8 million, and this is leading to a big problem in terms of getting their license and getting safety for their stadium. Now, the lead of the Department of Homeland Security used to be a woman called Noam. She accused the Democrats of shutting down the government and said it was jeopardizing the World Cup. But of course, she was recently fired by Trump. Total chaos. So finally, assuming it does somehow all go ahead, what about ticket prices? Well, there's another disaster. I live near New York, so I applied in the ballot for the England Games versus Panama in New York and Ghana in Boston. As expected, to be honest, I was not successful, so I went online to see about other ways of getting tickets. Seats are on sale for the England Games for about $1,000, and they'll be up in the nosebleeds. And I just am not going to do that. If you want a good ticket, it's $3,000 to $4,000. So genuine supporters will be priced out of the games, even if they can get into the country, because there are big visa problems as well. So there it is, a total fiasco. I was going to post this from the UK during a recent trip. I have a green card, so I'm a permanent resident of the US, but I'm not a US citizen. To be honest, I was worried that I would not be allowed back in the US. Can you believe that I was so worried that I had to ask my wife whether I should go ahead and post this because it's relatively anti-Trump? We agreed that wasn't a good idea. Really sad times. Let's see what happens with the World Cup. On a much brighter note, it looks like Palace are slowly getting back on track. We're in the quarterfinals of the UEFA Conference League, a great win over Tottenham recently, who are now in a terrible risk of relegation and have changed the manager twice just recently. It looks as though a top 10 place is still possible for Palace, despite a boring 0-0 draw with Leeds. The next game is the quarterfinal game in the Conference League at home to Fiorentina, and that's next week. Czech Decore is back in training and could play soon. So happy days coming back to Palace. So as ever, support your team and your support with pride and with passion. Best wishes, and I hope to see you soon.